Ciao and welcome to this new video. Today I want to talk about acid baseline and how to do an acid baseline into the ESP404. Usually when we refer to acid baseline we are talking about 303. We are not gonna copy 100% the behavior of the 303 because it's pretty much impossible into the ESP alone. This is mainly for two reasons, despite the fact that the original 303 is analog and blah blah blah. The first is the filter. The filter of the 303 is an 18 dB per octave filter, so it's pretty steep. We don't have this kind of filter inside, so the result will be different. And the second reason is the sequencer. We can take advantage of the slides and the accent and the way we are programming a 303, the way that the sequencer is reacting with the synth part. But still, we can go into that territory. So this is the sequence. So this is a 303 substitution? No. It's a cool acid sound? Probably yes, and it's usable. Now I want to delete all this sample here, and I just want to use these two, and then I will explain what are these two samples. Let me simply delete all the stuff. Now we have these two samples here that basically are two saw waves, octave down, resampled. So nothing special. And I picked the saw wave because it's one of the two waveform we have into the 303. The other one is the pulse. Now I want to use these two samples as a foundation, but the first thing that came in mind and how we can solve the lack of slides, my take on that is to use the stopper. Maybe a little slower. Yes. Let's try also with a little bit of resonance. Nice. Let's record these two versions. One, let's resample. I want to resample here. And let's record another take with the resonance at its maximum. Nice. Now, we have to pick only the final part. I don't want to cut it now because let's see in the sequencer how it performs. And we can do the same thing here. And let's reverse. So we have kind of created a slide, but print. Let's leave like this. We have the two slides, and the accent can be programmed via the different kind of velocities. So we see that later. But before going into the sequencing part, I want to record another sample with the filter going on. So let's try the filter drive. Yes, let's record something like this. Nice. Let's cut it out. we are basically creating a different variation of the same sound. This way, we can kind of mimic the way a 303 can work. This is a very generalistic speech, as you can guess. Take my word with a little bit of salt. Now, let's try to record something and let's see if we need more samples or different kind of samples. Let's see what happened. Let's use the 2. Now, I want to use this sample here as a foundation. So let's yes, let's use this one. Now, yes, let's use the velocity. Let's also use the mute groups and let's put in the same so let's continue here. Let's see what could be free. I'm trying to fill the spaces. Let's use also this one. Maybe we have to substitute this with this. And let's try also to use some kind of scale. Phrygian is always a good choice. You have to kind of guess at one point where you have to fill the space, because it's not easy to remember where you have put all these different samples. But if you put all the samples you are using in a mute group, it's way more easier because you can guess a lot easier. Let's say we are good with this sequence. Of course, we can do more samples and use in a more dynamic way. I just want to show you the basic concept of this technique, which as now consists in recording the saw to octave and then use different variation of the sample to mimic some accent and some slides. Now we can treat a little bit more. So let's play. And let's use the same bass for all the sample. I want to use the filter. The normal, not the dry filter, but the normal filter, sorry. Which is here. And I just use the LFO contained into the filter to give to this loop a little bit of movement. I want to mimic a little bit the behavior of the envelope modulation. So by 1/16 the rate, because I want to follow the sequencer. And now I can resample this, so let me mute all the unnecessary stuff. It's 1 bar. We are working in 1 bar just for convenience of this tutorial. Here. Nice. Now we can delete all the stuff here, and let's delete also these two. Let's play. Delete. And now yes. Now we can continue to treat this little loop. We can use our compressor just to bump a little bit up the volume. Nice. And then we can use a crusher. Let's try with the crusher. Yes, just a little bit. Nice. Let's exchange these two. Now, let's try to have a little bit more width on this sample here. Let's delete these two samples here. And I want to use the tremolo. Now resample this. And I want to add a chorus, just a touch for the stereo width. Nice. Now let's pad link these two. And of course we have to nice. And now we have to lower the volume here. Yes, let's resample. And exchange. Delete. And yeah, this is not, of course, a 303, but you are in the acid territory. Now, as I said, I show you only the basic principle of this workflow. Feel free to explore more and let me know in the comment your ways to create acid line. If you have any, if you need samples, mixing or mastering, and you are interested in dig deeper in your music theory knowledge, check my Gumroad page. And as always, I hope this tutorial will be useful for you in some way. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Ciao!